If you've ever felt like everything's going wrong and you can't shake the feeling that you somehow deserve it, or if gratitude feels impossible when you're drowning in disasters, this confession explores how the moments when gratitude feels hardest reveal your deepest beliefs about what you deserve. Okay, hey, this is Francisca, and this is my mid-crisis life, and today is Crisis Confessionals. So, anyone who's been keeping up will know that I have moved. And anyone that has moved house will know just how stressful it is to move, right? My son said to me at one point, he was like, why do you always do this? Why do you always move us in the space of like 3 days? And I'm like, because no one can afford to pay, well, not no one, loads of people can, right? But like, I currently cannot afford to pay a month rent here and a month rent here and just move at my leisure. Like, it has to be done in a really short space of time. It's really, really stressful because you want to pack stuff, but you're still using stuff, and then you don't know what to pack, and then you're trying to leave everything to the lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? Even for the most calmest and like peaceful of us in the world, it's a lot. They say that moving house is like one of the 3 most stressful things that you can do in life. So it's like moving house, going on holiday, getting married, or something like that, right? Insane stress levels. So I knew that moving house was going to be stressful. So what I did is I decided to pay for someone to come and move just like my bigger items, right? And the whole idea of it is that I did not want to dismantle anything. I really didn't want to have to start taking things down and putting things back up. It's hard enough doing all the rest of the stuff. So I paid out a load of money for these people to do this. So, right, moving house was hard, yeah? What I did not expect was this litany of, I don't know, like, what's the word? Misadventures or misdemeanors, or like, I don't know how to describe it, right? But, I did not expect it. So I did 6 carloads, yeah, in my big old SUV, me and my son, carrying things down 1 flight of stairs, up 3 flights of stairs when we got there, traveling across London, an hour and a half each way, yeah, with traffic and roadworks and road closures and everybody trying to use the back road and having no access to the actual road that I'm living on anymore, like, and all of the drivers being absolutely insane. I did that journey 12 times in the space of 4 days, multiple trips, right, over each day. That was hard enough. The actual like physical labor, the logistics of what to pack when, getting from one place to the other, of dealing with drivers who want to be like swearing and shouting and screaming in your face. It was a lot. That was a lot alone. What I didn't expect is for the movers to turn up and say, yeah, we can't get those beds up the stairs. Do you know what you're going to do about that? All right, cool. Well, good luck. See you later. The one person who I had thought, okay, once Sunday comes, this person can just help with a little bit of like the lifting and the carrying, not loads, but just take a little bit of the load off of me and my eldest son. Like, I was exhausted by that point. I had been having like 5 hours sleep. So the one person that was supposed to help us then had to stay behind to build the beds. Then that person couldn't build the beds alone. So then my eldest son also had to stay behind to build the beds because they were too heavy and hydraulic springs and blah, 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 which is the exact reason I didn't want to dismantle the beds. So they're gone. So now it's just me and my 14-year-old, I have an attitude about absolutely everything, son, going back to my house to pack up the house. Okay, cool. Fine. The beds got built. Everything got packed up. I arranged to drop the keys in like a little later than I had expected. So we were able to go back the next day and do a further load. Okay, cool. The movers were also supposed to plumb in my washing machine. They get here, they're like, yeah, no, it's not got the right parts. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. But like, good luck. They left a little bit of felt that goes underneath the washing machine in my old house. So I couldn't move the washing machine. The gap for the washing machine to go in is like 1 millimeter either side of the washing machine space to be able to get the washing machine in. So I said, you know what? I can plumb my own washing machine. I don't need a man, whatever, fucking girl power, all that shit, right? Whatever, right? It's 2025, I can plumb my own washing machine. I know that it's not hard. I plumbed the dishwasher, fine, I'll do it. So I'm like, cool. I know this goes here. I know I've got to turn the water on here. I know the waste pipe's got to attach somewhere. Let me go find out. Let me investigate. So I figure out where the waste pipe's got attached to, manage to get the waste pipe through, manage to push the washing machine back by myself by bracing my hands above me against the wall and pushing it with my feet over the space of about 25 minutes in order to get it back into the place. Okay, cool. So I get back into place. Waste pipe's not long enough. All right, fine. So now I need to go and get an extension for the waste pipe. So fine, I'll go get the extension for the waste pipe. I'll go get the extension for the waste pipe. I come back and then I realize, like, oh, the actual thing, the I don't even know what it's called, like whatever that the waste pipe goes onto. I don't have one of those either. All right, cool. So I go get another one. So I go get another one. Come back. that one doesn't fit, even though it's universal. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go get another one. So I go get another one, and I come back and I put that one on, and then I put the things in, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is all working, lovely jubbly. And then I get the Jubilee clips I've ordered with the extension of the waste pipe, and I'm trying to screw that on, but no, the Jubilee clip is broken because it's slightly bent on one end, and it's like trying to get a belt through a belt loop. If the belt is bent like this, it's not going through fucking belt loop. So I'm like, all right, cool, let me get the fucking Jubilee clip and I'll hammer it out. So I do that, and I get the Jubilee clip on, and I get the other one on, and I'm like, brilliant, now we're cooking on gas. The Jubilee clip that was already on the waste pipe that was there, that I unscrewed 3 minutes beforehand, no, that doesn't want to work now. So fine, okay, cool. So I'll order another Jubilee clip. So I order another Jubilee clip, and I have to take everything off because that Jubilee clip is on this waste pipe, which is connected to this waste pipe, which is connected to the thing. So everything has to come off in order for me to be able to get to this point to put the Jubilee clip on. But you know what? It's fine. I'll do it. No worries, yeah? So I order a sofa because there's no sofa in the house. The sofa comes and we're unpacking it and find out, we've got to build the fucking sofa. All right, cool. No worries. We will build the sofa. But you know what? You know why we can't build the sofa? We can't build the sofa because the courier only delivered one package. So we only have half a sofa. So now we've got half a sofa across the front room in the house, unpacked with pillows inflating slowly everywhere. So I'm trying to speak to the person on eBay in order to be like, hey, dude, you only delivered one package. And he keeps on telling me that it's been delivered. And I'm like, bro, you need to send another package. I'm like, it's fine. I will figure that out. I'll sort that out. So anyway, we turn up. There's no fridge. So I knew there was no fridge before we walked in. So I'm like, fine. I'm going to have to throw all my food away. Food is ridiculously expensive at the moment. Like, anyone who's like eating is well aware of how expensive food is, right? So I'm like, okay, what can I do? So my friend brings me an ice box, and I've got like the ice packs, and I'm like, okay, let me try and cook some things and leave some things in the ice pack. So I've got the stuff in the ice pack, and I've got other bags, like freezer bags, and I'm like, I'll just put some of the stuff in there, and like, who cares about the carrots and the onions and the potatoes, because people used to put them in the larder anyway, so that doesn't really matter. So that's absolutely fine. We can just deal with that. And then the things I've put into the freezer bag start leaking. And what is it that's leaking? Oh, it's like frozen raspberries that my son uses for smoothies that he was supposed to have. But actually, you know what? On Tuesday, he decided to throw up in the morning. He didn't decide. He threw up in the morning, so he needed 2 days off of school. So I also had to look after him. So he wasn't drinking any smoothies because he wasn't training. So the berry mix of the smoothies defrosted in the bag and then leaked everywhere, and it looked like somebody had been murdered on my kitchen floor. But it's fine. I'll throw them away and I'll wipe it all up, and no problem whatsoever. Anyway, the fridge turns up and the guys come to deliver the fridge and find out that the fridge is 6 millimeters. No, 2 centimeters or something like that. Too big to go in the door, but they can't bend it over because the stairs are there and all the rest of it. So they're just like, yeah, I don't know. Good luck. To be fair, they were like, look, just take it all off, take everything off, and then you'll lose the inches from packing and it should go in. So I do that in my hallway, in the cramped little space, ripping off like boxes and packaging and all the rest of it to try and get my fridge into the kitchen. And I pull my fridge up to the door of the kitchen, and it is 0.5 millimeter too big for the door. So me and my son are trying to shimmy this fridge into the kitchen by bending over and me holding it over the stairs and him lifting it at the other side. But fine, it's all good. Got the fucking fridge in, so we get the fridge in. Excellent. So we move into the house, and the house has, boiler's not working. So I'm like, okay, cool, what's the issue with the boiler? Let me check this out. So I look at the boiler and I see, okay, the boiler hasn't been turned on for a while. I need to turn it on. I need to reset it. Even after I reset it, it's still not working. So I'm like, okay, cool. I think it's a problem with the water pressure. So I'm like, there's no water pressure. So I turn the thing on, turn the water pressure up, get it to work. Excellent, happy days, got heating, got hot water. I'm like, nice. Been moving for 4 days. Like, I need to just sit in the bath, right? I need to just sit in the bath and relax. So I go upstairs to the bathroom, start running myself a bath. Oh yeah, no, the cold water tap doesn't work. There's just piping hot water coming out into the bath. So I go back downstairs and I get my kettle and I start filling the kettle up with cold water and pouring it into the bath and pouring it into the bath and pouring it into the bath. And I'm like, okay, cool, this is a little bit more extra work than what I wanted, but you know what? No worries, I'll do it. So I finally get in the bath and I realise actually I've poured in too much cold water. So I turn the hot tap back on, and as I turn the hot tap back on, all the electricity in the house goes out and cold water starts billowing out of the tap. So I get out of the bath, soaking wet, in pitch black, go downstairs to the electric box, turn the electric on, and everything comes back on. Go back to the boiler to see what's going on, try to switch the boiler on, lights in, all the electricity goes out again. So I call my landlord the following day and I'm like, dude, boiler's not working. So the landlord sends out one engineer and he's like, yeah, I think the boiler needs replacing. Like, I don't know what the problem is, but I can't figure it out. I don't know what's wrong with it. We need to send the electrician. So the following day he sends the electrician. The electrician comes around and he's like, yeah, no, I don't really understand what the problem is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them to send another gas engineer, but I'm going to turn all of the electricity off to the boiler so we know that it's not a problem anymore. It's not safe. Okay, cool. So the following day, another gas engineer comes around and that gas engineer says, why the fuck has the electrician unplugged, like, he's detached all of the electricity to the boiler, so I can't test the boiler to see if it's okay. So that guy asks me to give him a plug, and he has to take the plug off, and he has to rewire a plug, and then he systematically goes through things, switching them on, to make it for a process of elimination to find out what the problem is. He's like, oh, here's the problem. It's the diverter. Look at the diverter. The diverter is completely eroded. It's fucked. And there's water all over your boiler. I think you need a new boiler. Okay, cool. So I call my landlord. Yo, dude, it's freezing. What's going on? Like, I need this sorted. So you know what he tells me? He said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to send another gas engineer to your house. And we're going to see what that gas engineer says. I'm like, listen, 3 different people have told you that the boiler needs changing. Just change the fucking boiler. He's like, yeah, but this one's from the insurance company, and if they say it needs changing, then you know what? We'll be able to do it at that point because it'll be on the insurance. Okay, cool. Why didn't we do that First time, 4 days ago. But okay, no worries. No worries at all. Bring the fucking gas engineer around, no problem. So he comes round and he's like, yeah, it's definitely the diverter. He changes it, he changes the pump, he changes this and the other. And he's like, yeah, it should work absolutely fine now. But you know what the problem is? The problem is that your electrician had detached all the electricity to the back of the gas, to the back of the boiler. So I can't test it and see if it works. So what I'm going to have to do right now is I'm going to have to put a safety notice on your boiler to say that you can't use it until the electrician has come back round and put electricity back in the boiler. And then another gas engineer will need to come back at that point and then check that everything's safe. And then we could take the thing off and say that you can use it. But until then, no heating, no hot water. It's now day 6. Tomorrow's day 7 in the house and I've still got no heating and no hot water. There's so many other things, so many things that didn't get delivered and got delivered wrong and got delivered to the wrong address or just didn't turn up at all. It was just this litany of fucking things. It was just one thing after another. And yesterday my fridge was finally here. So I say to my family, let's go and buy some food. I have nothing left because I had to throw everything away. So let's go buy the food. So we go and buy the food. And I need to charge my car. So I think, all right, I'll go to the supermarket that's just down the road because I know there's a charger there. I turn up, there's people using the chargers. There's clearly people waiting for the chargers. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's just go buy the food. But I know that I need charge because I'm driving across to the other side of London this morning, the following day, to pick up a table. So I need the miles, right? Because I don't want to have to get up and go and do it in the morning. So we go shopping and I'm like, all right, kids, let me drop you home. Yeah, just put the stuff away. Let's order some takeaway. I'm going to go and charge the car. So my oldest son always has some sort of problem when he's trying to order takeaway and he ends up like having an autistic meltdown and smashing his phone, right? It happens every single time. So I'm like, dude, just give your phone to your younger brother, yeah, because his phone got robbed and he's kicked out of Apple and he doesn't have any apps and that's still something that I still need to sort out, but I haven't had time to, whatever. But being autistic and emotionally attached to inanimate objects, he doesn't want to hand the phone over, and if he does hand the phone over, he wants to stand there the entire time. But the 14-year-old, because everything's about him and he's so persecuted, he cannot be using the phone while somebody is watching him use the phone. So now they're arguing on the phone while I'm trying to sort out getting the car back so that I can get it charged. So I'm like, just order the fucking food, please. Just take a task off my hands, please. So he hands him the phone, he leaves. My youngest one, I'm like, just order food, just find a restaurant, tell me what it is, send me the details, I'll tell you what I want, get the food ordered, just order the food. 2 minutes later, I get a phone call back. Oh, no, actually, he sends me the name of the restaurant. I'm like, looking at the restaurant, I'm like, dude, you understand that you're trying to order food to the previous address, right? Oh, no, I didn't see that. Okay, cool, just find a restaurant that's close to us, let me know the restaurant, give me the details and send it, and I'll just tell you what I want, please, just deal with it. 2 minutes later, oh, I don't know how to change the postcode, it just won't change, I don't know what to do. I'm like, do you know what? I'll just deal with it. Don't worry, I'll just fucking deal with it. So I order the food, and I'm waiting for the car to charge. I sit and wait 2 hours for my car to charge, for a charger to become available for me to start the 45-minute long process of charging the car. So I'm sitting in the car, waiting 45 minutes, waiting 2 hours, right? And the entire time the food still has not arrived. So I'm also having to call the restaurant 4 or 5 times to be told, oh, yeah, the driver's on the way. He's definitely on the way. Well, where on the way is he? Well, I don't know, but he's definitely on the way. 2 hours later, the food finally arrives and somebody finally leaves so I can charge the car, pull in the car to the charging point, go to use the charger, and it's broken. Charger's broken. Charger charged everybody else's car. But for me, it's broken. So I called the number and I spoke to the woman and she rebooted the machine and it took 5 to 10 minutes for the machine to reboot. But who knew if it was going to work? Because it doesn't always work. And I remember at that point, I just sat in my car and I couldn't help myself. I just began sobbing. I was just like, oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. So I'm sitting there in the car and I'm just crying and I'm feeling really, really fucking sorry for myself. At that point, I'd been packing and unpacking a house for 11 days straight, with no heating, no hot water, with things not turning up, with nothing but constant issues. And I just felt completely broken at that point. Completely broken. So I allowed myself to cry because clearly I really needed to. And it was pretty obvious because before that I was getting really angry and irritable. And after I'd had a little cry, I thought to myself, what is it that would help me in this situation? What could help me? And I started thinking about the idea of gratitude. I started thinking about how when things are going wrong, when things feel difficult, when things feel unfair, when it's just one thing after another, it's really easy to feel sorry for yourself. And it's really easy to justify feeling sorry for yourself. So what do we need in that moment? We need gratitude, right? We need to remember and start listing really specifically all of the things that we have to be grateful for, I have a house. I have a son who worked his arse off with me, who was a rock for me, who I could never have done it without. I've got a brand new fridge. I got money in my pocket to go and buy food for my family. Like, I've got a meal waiting for me at home. I've got health and, my organs are working. I'm not under siege. I'm not under threat. There's a lot of things to feel grateful for in that moment in time. And as I sat there thinking about it, it reminded me of my dad. not because my dad's an ungrateful bastard, which he is, but it reminded me of this similar conversation that I had with him. So he passed away a couple of years ago, but before he died, he was hospitalized for quite a while. Unexpectedly, he was only supposed to go in for an operation, and then there were complications, and other stuff happened, and he ended up in there for a long time. And I remember one time I went to go and visit him, and he was lying there on the bed, just, woe is me. My life is so hard. Why has it got to be like this? Yada, 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 yada. Complaining about absolutely every single thing that was going wrong with him. And you know what? I just had enough. And I was like, do you know what, Dad? How about, you learn a little gratitude? How about you have a little gratitude for yourself, for life? How about you be grateful that you're in a warm bed right now, that you've got free medical care taking care of you, that you've got that warm blanket over the top of your body, that your family are sitting around here spending time with you, that you've got nurses and doctors working for your health. There is so many things, that you even have air in your lungs to complain, that you've got a mouth and a throat and vocal cords that can express your dissatisfaction with everything in your life. Like, just sort it the fuck out, man. Like, I don't have time for it. Have a little gratitude. And I was sitting there in the car and I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about this idea of gratitude, right? Because here's the thing, right? Everybody talks about gratitude. Everyone's like, gratitude journals, write your gratitudes, everybody be grateful. And gratitude really is like one of the most powerful frequencies that you can resonate at, right? It just brings you into this place of love and compassion and thanks. It's just thanks, right? Rather than entitlement or selfishness or greed or like, I don't know, being ungrateful, basically. Like, that's not a good place to resonate. But here's the thing that I realized about gratitude. So when they placed me in this house, I looked at the postcode and I did a little Google Earth search. And I was like, sorry, you want me to go where? I'm sorry, that looks a lot like an estate. I don't know if you realize, but I don't live in estates. Like, I'm sorry, who do you think I am? And I just had like this, like, I was repelled by it. And I remember when I drove down here, I was just even more repelled because it is a massive fucking estate, right? And I was like, how can I get out of being here? Like, how can I get them? How can I get the council to just put me somewhere else, right? I can't live in an estate. Oh my God. Anyway, as I drove down the road, I realized, I was like, oh my God, this road isn't even in my borough. This is in the borough next to my borough. I'm going to tell them that this is even, because the only reason they moved back to the borough is because my son needs his services and he hasn't had any for like nearly a year since they moved us. So I'm like, I'm going to tell them it's not even in the borough, blah, 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 blah. So I look it up and it's like, yeah, some of the streets in this borough and some of the streets in that borough. And actually it turns out part that I live in actually is in the borough. And what I thought about is I thought, oh, so they've put me the furthest, like on the edge of the boundary between two boroughs. They've moved me back to the borough, but they've put me in the furthest possible place that they could put me in this borough. And my immediate thought was like, yeah, because they're punishing you. They're punishing you. This is what you get. You asked for this. You asked for too much. You complained. You pushed them into it. And now you know what they've done? They've said, yeah, we'll give you what you want. Yeah. But you're having it. But you're having the tiniest little amount of it because that's all you deserve. And that's what you get. And it was just such a random thought, right? That I caught in that moment. And my logical brain just went, who's punishing you? What, some random fucking Dave down at the old council housing place? It's like, that Francisca, she thinks that she's better than us. I'm going to show her. Let me show her a thing or two. Let me find the house that's furthest away from anything that she could, like, who's doing that? Nobody fucking cares enough to do that. But it's really interesting that that's where my brain went to. And every single thing that went wrong while I was moving, even though I was calm, because I know how to be calm and I know how to deal with stress and I know how to deal with adversity, there was this little voice in the back of my head that was going, well, yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get because you know what? You asked for too much. And you think that you can just have something. You think you can ask for something and deserve something. No, because you can't. And that's why everything's going wrong because that's what you get. That's what you get. Like, literally all fucking week. And it really, like, made me think about this idea of gratitude, right? And it made me think about the fact that gratitude is always hardest when we feel sorry for ourselves. And it's really interesting. I think it's a really interesting marker to see when it's hardest to be grateful. What scenarios is it hardest to be grateful? What scenarios is it that we feel sorry for ourselves? So I think, for example, for me, I really find it hard to be grateful when I have something that's telling me that I deserve to be treated badly, that I deserve for things to go wrong, that I deserve for nothing to go right and for everything to be hard because I asked for too much, because I asked for my needs to get met, because I crossed a boundary that I'm not allowed to cross, right? And I think about my dad and I think, when was it really hard for him to be grateful? It was hard for him to be grateful when when he felt like no one's here for me when I'm vulnerable, because that was his thing. Yeah, he was left as a kid. He was left with this person, that person, next person, other person, whatever. Like, nobody wanted him. And he said the last thing he ever wants is to die alone in hospital. And he died alone in hospital by himself, completely alone. So I just think that it's really interesting to watch ourselves, particularly in these moments, particularly to see when we're feeling most sorry for ourselves, to see when we're finding it really hard to be grateful, because a lot of the time that can give us a little bit of insight into actually what some of our core beliefs are, right? So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm still unpacking a house. I'm still exhausted. But I'm slightly more grateful than I was yesterday, and slightly less determined that I don't deserve anything than I was yesterday. So yeah, something to be grateful for. I am really grateful that I have a roof over my head. There are so many people that don't. There are so many people that are out there in the wind and rain right now, struggling to get by, struggling for anything. I'm grateful that I got 4 walls and electricity and shelter. Because like Maslow says, man, base needs. You can't operate without those simple things being cared for. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Okay, so for now, that's it. Join me tomorrow for Monday Mindset. I'm going to talk a little bit around the psychology of gratitude and why it's so powerful and why everybody says that we should be grateful. And yeah, maybe some tips and tricks about how to do that. All right, cool. That's it. That voice saying, that's what you get. It's revealing a core belief about deservedness. Drop a comment about when gratitude feels hardest for you, or what scenarios make you feel sorry for yourself. Monday explores the psychology of gratitude and why it's most powerful exactly when it feels impossible.